Well, first of all, Sam, I like your opening premise, and that's that there's a lot of talent at the NAIC in our state departments, and I would certainly agree with you. And I think if there were to be an optional federal charter, I would imagine that would be the first place federal regulators would look. But having said that, we do not support the poaching of our talented staff to create another level of bureaucracy. We do support efforts to empower the states to more effectively regulate. But again, I think there are some constitutional issues that have already been raised in terms of delegating authority to a private entity such as the NAIC. So you need to, we're going to have to keep those issues in mind as we go forward and evaluate any specific proposal. But just let me just focus on a couple of areas where we already have something like that already in place. IRS regulations concerning reserving methodology and the taxation of life insurance proceeds. Those methodologies, those standards were developed in collaboration with the NAIC. So that was a joint effort. Federal law put on the books, and then states regulate. Medigap policies. When Medicare was first established, and then we developed all the supplemental plans, and there were a plethora of plans out there. And I think you all as agents came in and said, our consumers are confused. They don't know what to buy. You need to standardize them. So working with the NAIC, those products were standardized. The law still says there shall be 10. I think at the moment we're getting it changed, but I think there's 17. So we've got more Medigap policies than should be authorized by the federal government. But the Medigap policies were then standardized in federal law, but the ability to regulate them was given to the states to regulate. Now, there's an exception to that out there. That's the Medicare Advantage plans, which are private plans that are sold to consumers through insurance companies rather than Medicare, which is paid for by the federal government. The relationship between the hospital and the doctor is with the federal government and Medicare. The Medicare Advantage, the authority is delegated to the insurance company, which sells the product. The difference is those products are not regulated at the state level. They're regulated by CMS, Centers for Medicare and Medicaid Services. And we have numerous problems that we hear about day in and day out about the abuses in terms of how those products have been marketed, the concerns that consumers have about getting the services that they need and want, the fact that they were sold a product and their provider, their hospital, was not really included in the panel of providers. So we've gone back to Congress. We've said you need to let us regulate these products. Instead, Congress took the complaints that were brought to them by state regulators and put additional rules in place. But I would just argue that the rules, absent good enforcement, probably will be somewhat hollow promises, because we know that the enforcement will not occur through CMS. They don't have the staff and the capacity to do it. So another area where the federal government has created standards and then delegated to the states was through the HIPAA legislation. We love to call it in Kansas the Kassebaum-Kennedy legislation, because our Senator Kassebaum was the chair of the Labor Committee when that was created. And those were standards that had already passed in most of the states relating to the small group market reforms, and Congress just took those reforms collectively and put them into the HIPAA legislation, and again allowed the states to regulate